While we establish eye contact, we're making ourselves easy, aren't we? Just settling down into our body, into our chair, so that we're present. So that we have no expectations, no projections, just present, just human beings. Nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Let us understand first what I talk about. Why you are with me, for what I talk about is why you are with me. And because I am a Western guru, because I come out of the East, the deep, far deep East that is long since gone, into this westernized body, this westernized, specially cultured brain of the West. I do not mystify. I am Guru of the West. I do not need to use abstractions. I speak right down to earth, where my fellow man and woman have to play and work in the muck of the West, where it is hard, because it is competitive, cruel, unjust, violent. Everything that you know it is what it is. It is a violent, cruel culture. I am of that culture, this brain and this body. And just about everything that you have done has happened to me. So I am with you. I am not in some robe. I am an ordinary man, as you are an ordinary woman. But there is one extraordinary thing about what is happening in this position in space and time, marked by the presence of this body, just as your position in space and time is marked by the position in your body, of your body. X marks the spot. You are responsible for that position in space and time on the face of the earth. You are responsible, and you must check everything that I say to see that it is true in your experience. For I only speak the truth. And the truth is only the truth when it's true in your experience. Otherwise, you have to listen for the ring of truth. And that's good enough. For I cannot speak any truth to you that is not already in you. As they say, I am an ordinary man. And in the ordinary man or woman is every truth of the entire universe. I am just he who has realized that. That is my right and destiny as man. It is your right and destiny too. In that I am an ordinary man, you see. I am responsible for life on earth. Here. Utterly and completely responsible. That is the only difference between what is here and what is there. Let me demonstrate that. There is only one I on earth. And it is the I that calls itself I that you can feel. Know whether it's lying. Know whether it loves. Know whether it feels pain. Know whether it is jealous. Know whether it is angry. Where is that I? The only I on earth. It is in that position marked in space and time by your body. So let us get it straight. There is only one I on earth. And that is the I that calls itself I in that body, in your place. This one I, by the miracle of God's mind, in which everything moves and has its being, of course you can say, by the miracle of space, if you like, by the miracle of existence, which produces season and flowers, and the birds raise their young, and the grass comes through, and the sheep eat it, and yet the grass doesn't smother us over and choke us all. It just all gets eaten down or used down, and the trees don't grow so immense that we can't breathe or fly our aeroplanes because they're all kept within measure. This is, if you like, space. But the right word for it, because I know the truth, is God's mind. Because only a real mind is will and knowledge. The will to be able to contain all things so that nothing is excessive, so that everything is contained within its station. That is will. And knowledge is a tree. But the knowledge must be contained by the will, by the presence of the will. And so it is that all things grow and have their being in God's mind, which is the face of the earth and all the heavens. So we know what I'm talking about, don't we? I don't use the word space as such, although I do, but I use it as God's mind. I am sitting in God's mind. Right. That is the truth. You can have it any way you like. You can ask your boss to answer the question, if you like, or your mother and father, or your next-door neighbour. But although they might answer one question, I can answer every question, all questions. For I know all truth because I have realized what I am. The one I on earth I have realized. And there is only one I. How do we account for this? Because the one I, the I that you are, is the one I pushing through space and time. You. To get, if you like, to continue the allegory, to the brain and enlighten that brain of yours as it has enlightened this brain. That's all. There's only one eye. But it has many places. It's pushing through everywhere. It's pushing through the bird that sings, if you like. It's not pushing through here because this, as we know it, is not alive. But it's contained in there. Every living thing, I'm talking, looking at the stage. Every living thing, though, it's pushing through as life, endeavoring to get that thing to the optimum of its functionality, to express what I am. And so the bird sings and flaps its little wings and expresses to me, because I am that, the beauty of I, life on earth. And the cat slinks across the lawn, oblivious to anything and very independent. And instead of coming over to you when you call it, rubs itself against the corner of the brick wall, ignoring you, quite slyly and cunningly, deliberately. How beautiful it is as I, life, push into that thing to its optimum. And I see the beauty of that. My life on earth, for I am earth. And through that body, it pushes into that brain so that that brain will look everywhere it looks and see my life, my earth, and see what I am. Is this not true? Of course it's true. What point would there be to your existence if it was just to be a doctor or an accountant? To save a few lives, to die at age 28, to die at 17, to die at 4 years old. What would be the point? No point. If the earth were ever as the doctors and the accountants and the newspapers and all the human minds think it is, what a horrible thing life would be. What a terrible thing life on earth would be. The little one, aged 3, throat cut, blood all over the road, finished. Life finished. Gone forever. What a terrible existence. It's not the truth. It's a rotten lie. Death is in store for everything the moment it's born. There is no guarantee in my life how long you last or how you go, nor for any animal, nor blade of grass. All right? No promises in life. He who looks for promises looks for pain. Do you look for promises from your love? The man or woman that you love? Do you want them to promise to love you forever? Then you look for pain. No promises on my earth, because I am life. I am ever fresh, boundless life. I have a myriad forms. I am forever. Is this not true? Where is this life? Where is this life I'm speaking of? Am I speaking in abstraction? Because I said I don't speak abstractions. You know where it is, don't you? Wherever I am, there is life. Wherever life is, I am. Where am I? And where is life? There. What am I doing up here? Why should I be up here talking and you not up here talking? Why? It's a good question, isn't it? Why? Why do I say, I am Guru? I know everything that I need to ever know. Why? Why do I say this? It's a good question. I say it only because I am Guru. I do know everything that I ever need to know about life and death and God and love and truth. Why can't someone else get up and do it? Anyone. Read a few good books and get up and do it. Because they won't believe you. And your audience will reflect what you've read. And they won't be any more real than you are. That's number one reason. Number two is that I speak the truth and you hear it. I never run out of it. I am always speaking from this eternal position of life and I. I speak of a splendor not as some abstraction, but as a reality, as myself, as an enlightened brain. Now let's get the word enlightened right first. Certainly it could mean a light, But let's put it the other way, what you're trying to enlighten your brain of. You are endeavouring to enlighten, as I come into that brain, I am endeavouring to enlighten it of its past, of its expectations of the fulfillment of promises. And that is what I am here doing, am I not? What you're doing inside, I do outside. You'll notice this. I will not let you rest from within. You will never be happy in your love life. Don't worry about that. I shall see to that unless you are being true to yourself, to life. While you are being true to yourself and life, you will know no matter how your love life goes, it's all right. It's all right. My God, this is rough. And sometimes, oh, this is beautiful. How sweet it is. But even when it's rough, you will know it's right. I am being true, or I'm not being true enough. I will give you no rest in your love life. Don't worry about that. You might have noticed. But I will also never cease speaking about it from outside, saying the same thing that it is saying to you inside. For I am the I that is in you pushing in, realized in a body and a brain. So therefore I know everything that is going on in you, which means I know all the resistance that I am encountering. For as I came into this body and this mind, and I did it especially so that it would have the experience of my entry, so that I would be able to speak to you at every level. Whether you have children, I've raised children. Had to leave a wife and 2 children, I've done that. Watched the woman that I love die of cancer and serve her, I've done that. Worked 9 till 5, 12 at midnight till 6 o'clock in the morning. Start at 7:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I've done it. Had a rotten boss on top of me. Yes, yes. Paid the rates. And been completely ignorant in my body and my mind. But I am not ignorant any longer. I am here. I have enlightened this brain of its dependence on the past, of its dependence on promises, on its dependence on expectations, its dependence on tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, but tomorrow always comes. There is no tomorrow because there is only now to be free. I can only be free now. I can't be free tomorrow. I can only be free now. Are you free now? It just means to give up the past now. Give up all yearning for the past or repetition of yesterday. Means any yearning for the future. For when we want the repetition of yesterday, we're always looking forward to tomorrow, like a good holiday. When you go on holiday, do you hope you're going to have a good holiday? Then don't. That's looking for a repetition of the past. That is expectations. Just go on holiday and see what happens. Then you don't bring tomorrow with you. For tomorrow always comes. You can go and have the finest realization in which you know there is no time, I am in the timeless. And you go and sell your house or give it all away now. Don't worry, tomorrow is going to come. Because tomorrow you always need a house. It is getting it right between the two, isn't it? Tomorrow always comes, but there are no tomorrows to be free. You must maintain this balance. I am free now. Are you free now? Do not worry about tomorrow, because if you worry about tomorrow, you create a tomorrow. Be free now, and tomorrow will come. And it'll be all right then. But if you worry about tomorrow, you create tomorrow's worry. If you are anxious about tomorrow, you create the anxiety of tomorrow. And so tomorrow will be filled with anxiety. It will be filled with problems, stress, strain. And you'll say to your friends, I'm not doing it. I mean, don't be silly. He says, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it. But you see, you only think of the tomorrow that you want. But when you create a tomorrow, you don't get the tomorrow you want. You get the tomorrow where your weakness is, and so you can't see what you've created. When you live off tomorrows, you live off the strain, create the stress and strain of tomorrow, and you don't know which tomorrow it will come. I have no problems. I have no tomorrows. Means I have no tomorrows as an expectation. No holding on to tomorrow as a hope. For he or she who hopes must abandon hope to find God. All you've got to do is abandon hope in tomorrow. Now, if you look at the whole world, it's always hoping for tomorrow. Things will get better tomorrow. Things will change tomorrow. And it's true. Tomorrow always comes. So change always comes. But how much of that change is free of problems? Not much. Because every day brings new problems. Solves a few, creates a few. Now this eye that's pushing into you to enlighten your brain, this only eye that is on the face of the earth, it is doing what I am saying. So if you listen to what I'm saying, you will see what is happening inside of you. For the I there cannot speak as I can speak. It can intimate, indeed. And you get your intimations, and you have your intimations, and they are real and true. But that I, to grow like a sprout, like a sprouting seed, needs a reflection of itself. That is why the teachers and the masters are here. To reflect to your I itself. So the teacher that you need will always come to you. The people who need the priests get the priests. Everyone gets their teacher. The people who need the priests get the priests. And the priests entangle them in their fiction and their past. But you will find that the priests, to the people that they reach, take away a little bit of their past and substitute some other past for that past. Because the priest is so unenlightened, he has to look after the body of the suffering. And it is a wonderful thing to do that, for everything on earth is wonderful. Everything that cares for another human being or another plant or a blade of grass and cares for it out of love is wonderful. Everything has its place in this great staircase of life. But because the priest is unenlightened, he cannot free the ones he teaches. He can only substitute a little bit of right past for wrong or worse past, which he does. And so he tends to serve the body. He is kind. He is sympathetic. And he allows you to talk about the rubbish that comes out of you. He listens to. You see? And so he allows you as a therapist to say all the rubbish about all your problems. And so, as the problem talks through you, and you say, well, this is a good therapy, you know it's so popular these days, to talk about it, right? Get it out, have a good counsellor. Well, where I come from, you see, I say, I don't want to hear that crap, thank you. Anything you've got to tell me about your problem, I've heard, I've been through myself. It is all false, all rubbish. Now can we get down to life, please? Having got rid of the rubbish. And what do I mean by this? Well, when you come to me, you come to the naked truth. You are responsible for yourself. There is no priest here to help you. There is only the living truth to tell you the truth. So you have to be ready to face the truth of yourself. The unshielded, unprotected truth of yourself. And of course, it is best that you walk out than sit here uncomfortable or bored and go and find yourself a priest or a therapist, because you will find one. And you will go in another loop of time. But when you come to me, you are ready to cut across the loop of time. You are ready to face yourself. Because the I in you that is rising is equal to the energy that I am speaking to you from. It says, do not remember me. Do not think about me. When I want you to look at what I have to say or what I am, I will rise within you and let you know. I am so real that I never have to be thought of. The only thing my photograph on a poster will ever remind you is of that. Do not remember me. You will be reminded of the truth that I speak, energetically, by the I that is inside of you. Now, what is this truth that I speak? Because I've got to keep reminding you so that you can bring your I up to enlighten that poor brain. Because man is run by an animal brain. Please examine everything I'm saying, won't you, in your own experience. This is an animal body. This body was prepared for my entry into it, for the entry of the truth I am. This body was prepared for it, and before I entered it, it is an animal. In advance of my entry, I send a wave of self-consciousness. See, there I am. Feel myself. I. Got it? There's only one I. In my entry into this animal body, I always send a wave of self-consciousness. It always precedes my I through matter, space and time, self-consciousness. For I am man, and I am totally conscious. I am not self-conscious. But when you put I, who am conscious, in matter, it sends a wave through matter of self-consciousness. For self-consciousness is self-reflection. Now man's brain, which is in this human body, has one capacity over all animals because I am coming. I give it the power of self-reflection. Therefore, I can see that as separate from myself. I can see that there, so I can reflect myself of it and say, I am not that, or that is separate from me. As I could say, if I wanted to, that that is me, if that occurred to me, but at the same time, it would still be separate. It would be a separate form. So I have this capacity of self-consciousness because I am coming. When I am coming, the wave comes out in front of me. So wherever I am coming, the person will have greater self-reflection. Now, of course, self-reflection is not really my ability to spot things out there and paint a good painting because it make it like that. That's self-reflection, all right? That's self-consciousness. I am not that. That's separate from me, so therefore I can paint it. Now that's a certain self-reflection. But there is a self-reflection inside, you see. The same as outside, because it's God's mind is not just outside. We are sitting in God's mind, as I said. This is space, but I call it God's mind. We are sitting in God's mind. Well, now, while we're sitting in God's mind outside, being self-conscious, there's that which I can paint. I can see that because I am self. I'm reflecting off it, you see. So I put some space, some intelligence, in other words, self-conscious intelligence. There's that and there's me. And now I can sketch it. I can write a letter. I can express myself through my self-reflection. For I am coming, remember. I am self-conscious, still self-conscious. Now we've got to get into the other part of God's mind. Because you see, the scientists and the doctors and everyone think that there's only that God's mind or the earth consists of this part where there are all forms of life, like the form that you're sitting in, that I am entering, the form of life. But now let's have a feel of the other part of God's mind, which science and the scientists and the newspaper men and women and the newsreaders never know anything about, unless someone punches them in the stomach or they get a pain. Right. Now let us deliberately, self-consciously, but we're going to change self-consciousness into consciousness, for we're going to go down towards the I. And when you go towards the I, you throw off your self-consciousness and you become conscious. For I am conscious. It's only when you are away from me that my waves come through space and time, which is your body, and you are self-conscious. Now, when you are self-conscious and conscious of all those things being separate from yourself, you feel very threatened. I mean, you're in constant danger. All those things, all those people, motor cars, death. Self-consciousness makes us aware. The animal's not aware of that. He has an instinctive awareness where if you enter his instinctive consciousness, which is one below self-consciousness, he raises his head. He's alerted because his instinctive consciousness prescribes an area around his body. And he is warned. But our self-consciousness goes what? How far? Out to Mr. Khrushchev? What? What's the Russian leader? Our self-consciousness goes out to the Russian leader, right over to America, to President Reagan, to Australia, to the Antarctica, wherever the newspapers like to put us. Our self-consciousness goes to there, to the Sudan. And our self-consciousness says, isn't that terrible? Isn't it terrible what's happening in the Sudan? Or somewhere else? You understand yourself. You understand what we're talking about. So you get warnings through your self-consciousness. You feel threatened everywhere. And of course, especially in your work. So you award to those things around you that you're self-conscious of tremendous power to change your life, to threaten your life with death and all sorts of things. And so you get fear, anxiety, neurosis, because you're constantly on the self-conscious alert. And why not? Now let us go in towards the I. We're going to have to swim against the tide, for I am coming up, and the self-conscious waves are coming up towards the senses. So as we go in towards ourselves, we're going to have to swim like the salmon against the tide of self-consciousness. And you know what that self-consciousness is going to say? It's going to say, be afraid. Don't give up. You've got to hold on. You've got to be tense. You've got to worry. You've got to hold on to all your yesterdays. Remember them. That's what self-consciousness does, because it's got nothing else. So as we go into ourselves, we're going to come across those waves. You might have noticed them. To make you fear and doubt what you're doing. Especially to make you doubt Guru. I that has realized the I. Because you won't remember the truth that I speak. How can you? You can't remember the truth. It is impossible to remember the truth. You can only remember what is not the truth. Do you hear me, man and woman? Man can only remember what is not the truth. Nothing abstract about that, is there? You can test that at any time. Why do I say, do not remember me? Because it will not be the truth. I am the living truth. I am now. Feel it? Where am I? I am the living truth in that body. What am I? Go on, you name it. You try to. You will have to give it a self-conscious name. A name of distance. Well, it's this. Well, it's that. That's all self-consciousness. I am nothing but what I am. I am the living truth. I cannot be remembered. Come on, up you come. Right into it, right into it. Right up to the senses. Right up, come on. No reflection. You don't know your name. You don't know when you were born. You don't know you've got a body unless you look down. Come on, you've got to come up here. How would you know who you are? You don't, unless you think. And what is thinking? A self-reflection. Oh, how easy, what a relief it is to just think. Whew. I can reflect, what's my name? Oh, yes, that's my name. Oh, yes. I got a reflection. What am I reflecting off? My memory. Is this not true? What is your self-reflection, man and woman? If it's not of that picture, there's nothing wrong with that self-reflection as long as I do not name that picture. If I name that picture, I'm self-reflecting off my memory. If I name you, I will self-reflect off my memory. And I'll put you in the past, and it will not be the truth. I must not name you. I must see you, fresh and new, now. If I name you, I make you untrue. Do you hear me? Can you walk around not naming things? Yes, you can. Oh, yes. But of course you've got to be present, not to name anything. For I do not name anything. I come right up into your senses without self-reflection. You don't name things. You see things. You see things clear, precise, without them conveying the past to you. And so your perception is immediate. You have no stress, no strain, because you're not trying to remember it, not trying to name everything. You start to enlighten your brain, because your brain consists of the memory. The human brain consists of memory. If you use your memory, you use your human brain, and you do not know the truth. What is the truth? Could we get it straight what we're talking about? Does the accountant or the doctor know the truth? We've got to get to that, haven't we? And the answer is no, the accountant and the doctor don't know the truth, never can know the truth, because only man, I, can know the truth. And I am not a doctor. I am man, life on earth. That is the truth. And does it matter if I live or die? And the answer is, of course not. I was born to die. No anxiety about my death. That's all death is, the anxiety of death. Give up the anxiety of death, the self-reflection. There is death and there is me, and I'm alive and I'm going to stay away from that because I can reflect off the memory of death. I've seen so many dead bodies, or I've heard about them, or the newspapers tell me every day that there's death. So I reflect off the memory of that death and I say, oh my God, it's all lies. It's the human brain living off the past. You don't know what it is to die. You've never been dead, have you? Because if you ever been dead, and you say you've been dead, then you weren't alive. You weren't dead because you knew that you weren't dead, didn't you? It's all rubbish. All an invention of the human brain, which always starts with beginnings and ends. There's no beginning and no end. Only in the memory. That's why the scientists are trying to find the beginning of the universe. The scientists work in the human brain, the animal brain. There's no beginning to the universe. Because there's no beginning to you. There's no beginning even to your physical body. Where did it begin? It's only an arbitrary beginning. Which atom did it start with? We're talking about self-reflection, aren't we? And you don't have to remember anything that I'm saying, because I am speaking the truth. And the truth doesn't have to be remembered, because the truth is, it is energetic. And being energetic, it is absorbed by you. Every moment you are with me, every word that I utter goes into you energetically and lodges there forever as energy. And in your own time, like a battery, like a beautiful, superb battery, you release a pulse inside yourself. And what you have heard, the truth you two have heard from me, or in your own experience of life, will be released up into your animal brain. And you will pause. You will be reminded energetically of something that is true. And you will look at it. That's how the truth works. But the priests will tell you to remember things. And every time you think about them, you encage yourself in more past. For to exercise the thinker is to exercise the problem. And when you exercise the muscle, it gets stronger. So every time you tell your sad story, Every time you think your sad story, every time you think about the past with your animal brain, yesterday, think about the last moment, you exercise the muscle of your anxiety, tension and unhappiness, and so you make yourself unhappy. Not immediately. Oh no, it's far more cunning than that. But within 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 or 48, you will have a mood. You'll get up and you won't feel like talking. Or you'll be angry and you'll want to take it out on someone and you'll want a good argument. That's where it comes from. You exercise the enemy, it will exercise you. It will make you worry and tense. And you'll have to have a couple of extra drinks because you're feeling down, blue, depressed. All because you exercised your unhappiness. Now you come to me so that I speak the truth to you energetically. It goes into you. Tomorrow, tonight, the next day, the various things that I have uttered will arise energetically in you, each of you, according to your need. What you will be reminded of from within. But if you are covered over with self-consciousness, that is reflection on your memory, from thinking all day, the I, by the law of life, cannot get through this constant interaction of self-consciousness. The constant reflection from the mind to the memory, and that's called thinking, isn't it? Walking along the street, daydreaming. Always having to think, have an active mind. An active mind is a mind that's always thinking, referring to the past. Can't stop. Mum or dad says, oh, I've got the nerves, I can't stop thinking. Or the boss, doesn't matter who it is. It's not nerves, it's utter lack of responsibility for oneself. The self-consciousness has got hold of you and you can't escape. So then you have to lie on your pillow while it uses you. As you used it just to daydream, so harmlessly. So when you put your head down on the pillow and want to go to sleep, it says, no, I don't want to sleep. I want to self-reflect. And so worry comes up. It always picks an emotional point, you see, to worry about, to go over and over with. That's called self-consciousness. Worry is self-consciousness. Self-reference. I am not self-conscious. When I come into the brain, the self-consciousness starts, that's waving through matter in advance of me. It reaches the end of matter, for I am totally in my brain and there's no more matter for the waves to go through. I then become conscious. What is it to be conscious then? Well, you've heard what self-consciousness is. It is reflection on the memory. Consciousness is no reflection, unless I want to. If I want to know how much is in the bank, I will then allow my mind, for I am not the mind, you see. I am not the human mind. I am consciousness. But I will then allow my mind to reflect on how much I got in the bank or a phone number. If it can remember. The memory starts to go. But not of anything important. Because what can you remember that's important? There's always a telephone. You don't have to remember much that's important. And you'll notice, if you want a measure of our times, of the intelligence of our times, that just about every game that is considered to be intelligence, every test of intelligence on the face of the earth, on television, newspapers and in the magazines, consists of a test of memory. Right? A test of self-consciousness. That's intelligence on earth. What a backward idea. I mean, you can get a computer, can't we? Why put mastermind on? Why don't we feed it all into a computer? and just push a button, let the computer do it. Well, what would man do then? Well, he would be conscious then, and he would say, life is good, I have no problems. I have given up the robot in me because I am now conscious. Life on earth has evolved. Did you think life was fully evolved here? Because you've got a body that hasn't had to change, that works perfectly? Did you think that life, the evolution of life on earth, is finished, of the species is finished? No. The physical species, your physical body is perfect, wonderful. An extraordinary self-conscious production by I coming into space and time. I produced your self-conscious animal body. But did you think evolution finished there? No, you people who are with me, are the front end of evolution. For now you must become conscious, as I am conscious. You must give up your self-consciousness to do that. That's like asking a baby to give up its favourite toy. And as you notice, it's pretty painful. But I am doing it inside of you, aren't I? That's why you're here. You are under pressure from the truth I am rising inside of you. And sometimes you don't know what's happening. The pressure is so great. You are confused. You don't know what to do, whether to turn left or right. You just don't know what to do. Sometimes your whole world seems to be falling in. And yet nothing ostensibly need be happening in your relationships or interactions, although they probably will. That is because of the pressure of I coming into you. And as I come closer into you, remember, the waves of self-consciousness through the matter, space and time, which is your body, get less. And you are forced to become more conscious, more present, more responsible for life on earth, which you are. Now, don't think that I am saying you are responsible for the fish in the sea, that you are responsible for saving the forests. That all has its place in the great activities of the perceived body, that it has to do something all day anyway, and it is better to be saving something than destroying it, let us say, although there's room for destruction. But I am talking about responsibility for life in the first instance. Now, where is the only life that you can feel? You cannot feel the fish in the sea. You cannot feel the suffering of the Sudanese because they're not suffering. Everything's all right, thank you. Everything on the earth is all right. If it's not all right, it will appear in front of you, and you will know, I must act. And you will pick it up and take it home and cradle it and love it and warm it and feed it and die for it. Then you will be believable. But if you send your check, forget it. You must die for what you love, not send your money instead. This is the sort of life I am talking about. For to become conscious, you have to die to yourself. That is being responsible for life on earth. For you are the only life. And unless you are pure, meaning free of unhappiness, unless you are free of trying and wanting and fear, then life is not free where you are. So what's the good of worrying about the Sudanese? You must first of all concern yourself with where I am. For where I am is your God-given or life-given position to deal with. Stop dealing with things outside yourself first. Deal where I am first. I don't know what to do, says the youth, or says man, with my life. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Where am I going? Here I am 28 or something or 30 and I've done nothing with my life. What am I doing? You hear it, don't you? Everywhere you go. Well, you come to me, I'll tell you what to do. You must get your life right here. If you lie down by the river's edge all day, if you lie in bed all day, who cares? As long as you are being present in bed, present in this body, present now, no problems, no stress, no thinking, no strain, just utterly present now. That's when you come to life. It doesn't matter what you do with your perceived body. Go and do it. Go on the unemployed. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But stay conscious. Keep the unhappiness out of yourself. Keep the moods out of yourself. Keep the impatience out of yourself. You're yearning for something to do with your time. How could you ever yearn? Go and walk in the park. Be present every moment in your senses. Be right up in your senses. See what you're seeing, but do not name it. Be present all day long. Then you are truly working for life. If you are a doctor, then be a doctor. Open your door. Don't expect. Don't think what's going to happen. Open your door. Sit down. Don't go, another day. Don't do that. That is self-reflection. Be new. Nothing tires you like. That is the most tiring thing you'll ever do in your life. If you begin your day, you're finished. You exhaust yourself. There's nothing for you to huff and puff about. Nothing. You only think there is. And it's the thinker that huffs and puffs, and the huffing, puffing that thinks. Give it up, and you'll be amazed how you start to come to life. Open the door of your office and walk in and deal with it now. And when they say, you've got to worry, you've got to try, don't try. Never try. Never ever try. And never ever tell your children to try. For it is a lie. For you say, be tense, lose yourself, concentrate, burn a hole in yourself when you say try. You say to your child and yourself, first of all, let me get in my body. For everyone lives 6 inches out of their body today. Here is where the consciousness of man is. It's not a good sign. It's not going in, it's coming out. And if we could use this analogy, then probably every year he grows 1/4 of an inch these days outside his body more. So man is living in an electromagnetic body. Did you know that? No, well, you don't know that because I've only just said it recently. Man has an electromagnetic body. I'll tell you the story. First he had a chemical body, and that was out here, just on the surface of his skin. And now it's an electromagnetic body. And the electromagnetic body is much further out and much more airy than his chemical body, because the chemical body had more substance in it. Electromagnetic body is as it describes. It's a field. He's got a field of consciousness out here. It is a lost consciousness because it has no ground. A field without a ground is lost. A field is an intelligence. An intelligence without ground is lost. It doesn't know what to do. So the only thing it can do is invent more things to do, more things to think about, more games to play to keep itself moving so that it's got some sort of ground. So the field makes a ground of its own, of tremendous activity, such as computers, things that you push, games that you play, more and more information to read, more to worry about, big business deals. Got a big problem here. We've got the problem of the Russians, we've got the problems of the Americans, we're getting the problems now of the South Africans. You wait and see, we're going to get more and more problems because the electromagnetic body has to create more problems than ever before because it's got no ground of reality. Now, where is the ground of reality? The ground of reality is inside your perceived body. Now, this electromagnetic body is even outside the perceived body. Here's the perceived body, and the thinking electromagnetic body with all its thoughts, with all its terribly important conferences. I mean, do you know how many important conferences went on in your organisation today, or if you're only unemployed, how many in your big organisation of the government, they had important conferences today? They're getting more and more conferences because they're all taking place out here. Now, none of those conferences are important. None of them matter. And if you participate in those, in your discussions and believing in them, you then exercise your electromagnetic body. The human race is turning into a computer race. It is turning into a robot race. Now, a robot race is featured by one thing. It cries for love and has no love. It can find no love. Because it's not grounded, you see. Love is ground. Now let me demonstrate where love is, right? Let us demonstrate this other half of God's mind, where I am, where the ground is, and where love is, and where the earth is. And then, through this ground, you can earth your field. The field being the field of intelligence. And every field has to have a ground, has to have an earth. Even the lightning has to come to earth. Every field has to have earth. Now, man of today, where you work, all the people that you know have no ground. They are getting further and further away from the ground. So they are getting more fearful, more tense, more unhappy, and therefore more need for some compensation or substitute for that. So they have to drink more. The sex becomes more dependent on excitement, more dependent on the orgasm, more dependent on any sort of excitement or entertainment. No love. So let us find this place. Let us go in towards where consciousness is, where I am. Now, most of you have been with me before, but for those that have not, let us find this ground. We have to feel inside the perceived body. This is the perceived body, right? We are going to go inside the perceived body, into the subconscious. To get in there, we have to feel inside the perceived body. We have to feel our vital body. Now, there is a perceived body, and there is the vital body. The perceived body has no feeling in it whatever. We only think it has. Every bit of feeling that you have is in your vital body. But the whole world has lost touch with its vital body. If the world had not lost touch with its vital body, there would be no problems in the world. I have no problems. I am utterly in touch with my vital body. I have no problems. So you can see what the problem of the world is. It is out of touch with its vital body. So let us go and find it. You begin by feeling the feeling inside your hands. It is a tingling feeling. And then feel the the tingling in your lips. It's a finer feeling in the lips. Then in the nose. The nose has got a distinct feeling in it. It's a tingling feeling, distinctly different though. Then the cheeks. So you've got lips, cheeks, nose, hands. Try to get them all at once. But be easy. Don't try. You must not try. You must just be. You must be easy. Now, if you keep the corners of the lips tending to be up, because you're feeling your face, you'll find it easier not to concentrate. Now into the eyeballs. Now the eyes are always trying to look, so we pull back the pressure from the eyes, the eyeballs. Just pull back the pressure off them. Let it all go. If you've got your eyes open, look peripherally. Don't look into the distance. Look at the corners of your eyes. Look out there. Don't look. Look into the foreground, the middle ground. Don't try to look too far ahead. Keep the corners of the lips up. Feel your face. Now your whole face is energetic. Your hands, you can feel inside those at the same time. Now go down to your feet and ankles. Same feeling. Come up the legs, feeling the feeling all the time and seeing if you can hold all the feeling that you've been to, keep holding it. Or keep aware of it. Up to the knees. Then up to the thighs. Thighs have a lot of feeling in them. But if you can't feel all this at once, do so when you're at home. You will feel it eventually. So you've got the lower half of your body around the buttocks and the small of the back, the lower small of the back up to the waistline. The lower half of your body, your hands, go up your hands, up to your arms, elbows, up the forearms, elbows, arms. Feel a lot? You've got the face. Now let's go to the top of the head. Not so easy to feel, perhaps. Fine energy. Then down the back of the head. Keep the corners of the lips up. Stay present. This is called staying present. Down the back of the neck. Let's just have a look inside the ears. Now let's take, just as we pulled the energy or the trying out of our eyeballs, see if we can pull the trying out of our ears. Don't pull it, but just drop it down. Don't try to hear. Feel inside how you can let the strain go out of your ears inside. Keep the corners of the lips up. Don't try. Be easy. Now every bit of tension that you're releasing is going down into your stomach, and there it will be dealt with. Tension is substantial. It is not an abstract thing. So as you release it with your consciousness, because you are exercising your consciousness now, you are freeing your body of its tension. Because all tension is in the vital body. And that then passes to the perceived body and screws it up. We are releasing the tension where it begins, in the vital body. So you've got the back of the neck, then you come down to your shoulders. The shoulders are a great accumulator of tension, which rises from the unhappiness in the stomach, where all unhappiness lodges in us. It rises up from the stomach, right up the frame, and gradually climbs up to the shoulders, and then from the shoulders, once they're full with tension, up the back of the neck, and we get headaches. And from there, from the top of the head, it spills over into the electromagnetic body around the field around the body. And we think we're thinking with our heads, but we're not thinking with our heads. We're thinking with this electromagnetic body. Man didn't used to think like we think. We only think he did. He thought nothing like us when he only had a chemical body. He was much more earthed, even if he was a Roman. He was much more earthed than we were. For the Romans actually knew something about the gods. We know nothing about the gods. But the Romans knew about the gods. But we know everything. And in knowing everything, we've forgotten everything that was real. We've lost touch with the myth, the truth of life, such as the gods. I know the gods. I am in touch with the gods. So are you. Do we really think that the Greeks and all the people before our civilization were such utter idiots? Imagine a whole past population of the planet, since time began, filled with idiots, that we're the only wise ones. And then have a look at the surface of our earth. More people dead this century than since life began. Killed by an evolved race. The poor, half the population of the earth, starving, poverty-stricken, while the other half sleek and fat. What an advance. 3 million unemployed, no slaves. Oh. And slavery abolished? What about the worry? What about the terrible stress? The broken heart, the love you can never find. What about that? Slavery abolished? What an advance we've made. We don't believe in the gods anymore. We know it's all rubbish. And of course, as for God itself, well, that's a laugh. But you see how far we've progressed as we've given up all these silly, must be imaginary notions. See how far we've progressed. 5,000. They're going to cut 10,000 missiles back to 5,000 each, I think. 300 to wipe all life off Earth. They're going to really cut it back to 5,000, perhaps. Great progress. Great progress. All right. In here, in where you are feeling in there, let's go down and we'll talk about it then. Down through the back, over the back of the shoulder blades, over the chest, dropping all your tension down, feeling yourself, bringing yourself to life by being consciously in your vital body, feeling it, being present. Down your back, the small of the back, down the spine there, then straight through from the small of the back, right through to the stomach and the solar plexus region. The solar plexus being in the little cavity in the breastplate. That is the center of your body, your vital body. It is more difficult to feel, except on occasions when you will feel a throb there. It is very fine energy. Now that is your vital body. If you meditate, any meditation that you do that does not bring you finally to perceiving your vital body just like that is a waste of time, is an abstraction. You'll get out into your electromagnetic field and you'll go to sleep or drift off and find yourself thinking. Let's get it straight. The field is the field of intelligence. Right? The field is the field of intelligence. You are using your intelligence, which is your attention, to perceive your vital body. Feel it? The vital body is the earth. The field is the intelligence perceiving it. You now have a field and an earth. You are safe. You are in touch with life. But a field without the feeling of life is a dead field. An infinite field. Infinite in the sense that it goes out into infinite space forever and ever and never finds what it's looking for because there's nothing out there. That is the electromagnetic field. You are earthlings. Is this not true? You are earthlings. You are of the earth. Your senses are of the earth. You must never leave the earth, in the sense that you must never leave the source of love. For in there is where you feel every bit of love you have ever felt is in that tingling. If you look at the most beautiful star, said to be 7, 10, 15, 20 light years away, its beauty will be felt in there, in that feeling. It is the earth that vibrates to the beauty of the star, or the beauty of the rose, or the beauty of your lover. And the earth is there. Feel it? That is life on earth. You are responsible for that life on earth. Now, where am I? That is the seat of I. I am perceiving the earth, my vital self. Right? The field is I. The field of intelligence is I. The ground is the feeling, where you feel love or joy or sweetness or beauty. I am perceiving the blessed earth. What is that earth that you're feeling there? There is no anger in the earth. There is certain eruptions there, but they are not angry, they just destroy. They are pure and beautiful. Anger is that which is held on to. Is there any anger in there, such as a mood, a resentment against someone or something? Now, if that is in the earth, there's something wrong on earth. It has to be got rid of, doesn't it? But you are responsible. All of you, in your way, have been endeavouring to do this. That is why you have come to me. For you are already endeavouring in your life to give up your resentments, your guilt, your hate, if you have any. And it is right that you should continue to do that, for in that feeling there is the joy of life. And now I must tell you from my own position, where I have realized the blessed earth as myself, that there is no unhappiness on earth. The only unhappiness is what gets between the field and the earth, what I hold on to, my fear. If I can eliminate my fear, which is all my unhappiness, which comes out of my resentments, my guilts, if I can give up my guilt, give up my hanging on to my anger, give up all those things, gradually that feeling, that tingling, gets more and more earthiness in it. And what is earthiness? Well, let's say earthness. Earthness is the joy of life. For where is life? If you were asked by any scientist, by the most brilliant man on the face of earth, show me life, what would you say? You'd say, I can show you a million life forms, but I can only tell you that I am life. How many of the most brilliant men on earth will say that? Is it not the truth? What does life feel like? It feels like what I feel like. What do I feel like? If I am anger, life or earth feels angry. It is not good. Not where I am. I don't like anger in myself. I don't like the feel of it. For I cannot feel the joy of life when I am angry. I can feel the force of the satisfaction of force, of pushing another over. But that's not joy. For joy has no force in it. Joy is being. And joy, where is joy felt? In there. So as you feel yourself when you are away from me, as you, the field of intelligence, perceives the ground which you are, as you are doing now, keep relaxed. Keep endeavoring to feel the sweetness that is there. For life is sweet, and life is good, and life is true. How do I know it? Because I can feel it. But if I got to rely on some scientists that tell me that life is precious, God help me. That life is good, God help me. I must feel that life is good. And there's only one place that I can feel it. And it is my earth, where the earth begins, inside myself. That is where life has to be restored on this planet. That is where it is choked. And that is why the planet is gradually killing its people off. Not the planet, the people on it are killing themselves off, and every bit of life that it can find. Because it's choked. No one's feeling the joy of life. Because we cling to our unhappiness. It is easier to be free of unhappiness than to be unhappy. Now, man and woman, please hear me, listen to this. For all the school children are taught the other way. They are taught it's all right for you to be unhappy. It's all right for you to be impatient because you're tired or you're young. Or it's just young spirits. That is a rotten lie, man and woman. It is not all right for anyone to be unhappy because they are tired. It's all right to be tired. Why not? But it is not right to be unhappy, is it? It's not true. It is not right to be moody because you're tired. Where did you get that idea? Where did we get it from? Because the world, which is so unhappy, wants to make sure that you perpetuate unhappiness on the face of this earth. That you have an excuse for your mood. And because I want an excuse for mine, I'll excuse you. Okay? So then we'll get on in between. Where I come from, those of you who come with me through death, for that is where you're going, for death is life. And it's in there where you feel, for that's where death is. For when you die, you're going to go back into that. Like when you go to sleep tonight, you're going to go into sleep in that. When you come with me, you have to give up more and more your right to be unhappy. You have no right to be unhappy. Soon all of you who are on the mailing list will be receiving a new statement that I am making. All about that. To the entire world. You have no right to be unhappy. Now, are you going to excuse it? Are you going to say that that is wrong what I am saying? Or is it the truth? For when you are with me, you see, you either hear the truth or you don't. Do you have a right to be unhappy? If I say you don't have, and you say you do have, then you defend unhappiness. I will not have unhappiness in me, so I am not unhappy. That's all. What about you? Simple, isn't it? I'm an ordinary man. You're an ordinary man and woman. What's so special about you, or what's so special about me? Nothing. Because it is natural to life on earth not to have unhappiness in you. That is the natural state. Hallelujah. No one told us, did they? Did you know that? Could you believe it? That's the natural state of life on earth, is not to be unhappy. So you've got more going for you not to be unhappy than to be unhappy. It's easier not to be unhappy than to be unhappy. But what's happened is the chemico-electromagnetic body is made of what, men and women? What do you think it's made of? It's made of the ground of unhappiness. Inside the body is the ground of joy of life on earth. The chemical body of the electromagnetic body is the ground of unhappiness. So every thought, every invention will lead to unhappiness of the electromagnetic body. So everything the world invents, it doesn't matter what it is, will lead to unhappiness. Oh, of course, it will make more convenience. But I'm afraid convenience is not happiness. You are coming back to life. Now, when you come back to life and you are in the ground of life, which is the joy of life, do you know what else happens that is remarkable? Most extraordinary thing. All your problems are solved for you. See, problems are the invention of the electromagnetic body. Give up the electromagnetic body, or let it be there so that you can use it when you want it or not use it, just like a spacesuit that you put on if you want it or you don't want it. It's not the spacesuit comes and puts you on. You give up the electromagnetic as a right that you believe in. You feel the joy of life and come back to life inside of you, because many people are trying to do it outside of them, in communes and various other ways, and it's doomed to failure, because you've got to come back to life within first. That's where the new life is made. The new age, there's no new age out here. That's all part of the electromagnetic nonsense. The new age is in here. When you come back and ground the field in the joy of life, your problems start to disappear. Because if it is natural not to be unhappy, then what is natural has to solve problems. Because unhappiness comes from problems. So the more you get in touch with the joy of life and return to life, and you do it by this way, this simple way of self-entry, while you battle through your daily living, which is the conflict that you need to exercise your right not to be unhappy. While you do that, and you stay and listen to me, and I echo what your I is saying, you come to life, you start to solve your problems. But it does demand that you examine every time you are unhappy. Do you think you have a right to be unhappy? If you think you have, then you better do something about it. When you give up the right to be unhappy, you're no longer unhappy. You can lose your car, you can lose your wife or child. That is not unhappiness. You certainly have to stay present, you'll notice. It is an event, and it might be sad. And it might require tremendous activity and tremendous presence. And you might weep, but that is not unhappiness. Only if you hold on to your weeping and go on mourning like the idiot newspapers try to present it. An idiot culture that says, I believe in God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in his Son Jesus Christ. I believe who rose from the dead, and then mourns its dead. I mean, what is it? Do I believe in God the Father, maker of heaven and earth, who is my heavenly Father, the giver of all good, and Jesus Christ his Son, who is the utter godliness of decency and rightness and truth and resurrected graciousness? Do I need to mourn my dead? For God's sake, what am I going to do? I'm going to get schizophrenic here. Are they dead or are they not dead? Are they saved or not saved? Is my heavenly Father my Father? I mean, when are we going to come down to earth? My heavenly Father and the Christ are now, as the Buddha is now, as everything decent and sweet and beautiful is now. And it is in me, if I can find it. That is your right. Not a right to be unhappy, but a right to find the truth inside yourself.